Tzu Chi volunteers continue to care for refugees in Serbia, providing warm winter clothes and jackets. While Taiwan is 60% poor, as high logging costs lead to an almost complete dependence upon imports. I'm Sean Scanlon. This is DI Headlines. Tzu Chi volunteers started distributing winter clothing to refugees in Serbia in 2016. This year, they even held a year-end blessing ceremony at a refugee camp.
At a low temperature of 1 degree, Tzu Chi volunteers in Europe gathered in Serbia once again. They feel pity for the refugees when seeing this scene outside a refugee camp. The words of this volunteer show her sympathy for refugees. Therefore, this winter clothes distribution has continued since its beginning in 2016.
I want to thank organization Tzu Chi for all help they give to us. Today they give some clothes for all the people. Also, I'm very glad to thank the organization because all of the food from 2016 and all these years, it's very important for us.
At the beginning, volunteers from European countries initially bore heavy responsibilities. But for these 2 years, the work has been transferred to Serbian and Bosnian volunteers. The local commissioner for refugees also offers support for Tzu Chi.
I have this jacket of recycled bottle. Okay. I'm very happy because I have this jacket. It is very warm and is waterproof.
A refugee said that when he was fleeing, there was no way to bring a lot of things. Then he said this winter coat could support him to go further, and it was very comforting.
Every time volunteers go to Serbia, they have to visit several refugee camps. In Krajaka, most of the families have children. Volunteers play with the kids to relieve their homesickness. The refugees who received winter clothes couldn't wait to put them on, showing a contented smile on their face.
Good. I really appreciate you for coming here and showing up and just helping people and distributing out these clothes. I appreciate you all.
Last year you give me dresses. It's a very good material, and I use every time when going cold. I use this, and I am very satisfied because this is a soft material, and I am very satisfied from your help. Thank you very much.
In addition to distributing winter clothes, volunteers also held year-end blessing ceremonies in Krajaka camp. Holding the red envelopes of wisdom and blessings and the New Year gifts by Tzu Chi volunteers, the children are all filled with joy. This means their travels to third countries will be a little better.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Xiamen, China helped a single mother whose husband passed away due to a liver illness. Volunteers helped renovate her house and brought furniture to her.
Her husband died from a liver disease, so Huang Xiuhua and her 2 children stayed temporarily at her brother-in-law's house. However, this house is too old and the ceiling leaks, and the place is too small for them. The government built a new house for them last year, but it does not have running water or power, so they cannot move in. These Xiamen business volunteers visit them and help them repair their home. They also decided to make their new home a real home.
I give you a small bed and this is yours.
Volunteers bring them furniture and also appliances from Xiamen.
A fridge, water heater, bed and mattress. I prepared everything for them. See the inside of the fridge? The seal is still there.
Water heater, bed, table, microwave and cups. These are goods for winter and also food.
For over a decade, Huang Xiuhua does odd jobs to raise her 2 children. She never expected to have a beautiful house.
When I got married, my place wasn't as good as this, so I'm truly happy.
This is the first family that this group of business volunteers helped since their establishment. Their companies are very busy at the end of the year, but they still insist on doing this task before the Lunar New Year.
We would feel there was something hanging there and not finished. While we are celebrating the Lunar New Year, people are suffering in the freezing weather, and it makes us feel terrible.
We have only contributed a little bit of our effort that could bring so much happiness to this family. We also feel happy too.
This house was used to be the loneliest, but on this day when the family is moving in, the neighbors come to cause hustle and bustle.
So many goods are given to her today that we are very happy for her because you are helping her. This is very good.
Tzu Chi volunteers use their hands to inspire people. Being able to inspire people in this way can truly touch people.
Now they can live in their own house and their happiness has come back.
Since 2013, Tzu Chi volunteers started to listen to Dharma Master Zheng Yan's Dharma at Dawn. One volunteer in Penang has even used these teachings to become more compassionate.
Ten Xiaosim, who has almost retired, has more time to learn Dharma teachings than most people who work. After she listened to Dharma teachings, she has gained a deeper understanding of the Buddhist Dharma.
In the past, I did not know that my Dharma name implies that I should learn to be compassionate. I need to be tender and tolerant. What I did was chanting when I drive. However, in fact, according to Dharma Master Zheng Yan, as we chant the Buddha's name, we should uphold the Buddha's aspirations. This is what I need to learn.
Besides learning Dharma teachings, Ten also dedicates herself to volunteer work. She hopes to practice what she learned in daily life.
In fact, as we learn Dharma teachings every day, we also need to put it into practice. In the past, I would judge people's action as right or wrong. However, after learning Buddha's teachings, I learned to reflect upon myself.
After learning the Buddhist teachings for many years, Ten hopes to walk the Bodhisattva path. She hopes to get rid of bad habits and become a considerate disciple of the Master.
I want to learn from the Master, who is a living Bodhisattva. Therefore, I hope that I can become better each day and gain wisdom. I hope I will become more compassionate as days go by.
On the internet, there's a rumor that drinking too much tea may cause osteoporosis. We investigate this topic, and doctors say it is true that too much caffeine consumption can indeed decrease bone mass.
谢谢。好，觉得怎么样？哎，这样胖呢？
Tea is fragrant and nice to drink. Miss Tai likes drinking tea since she was in elementary school.
In the past, we always made tea in a large teapot. You know, it's a very large teapot. My dad put tea leaves in and made the tea for the whole family.
No matter whether you buy from outside or make your own, more and more people like drinking tea. Recently, there has been a rumor spread in the internet. Drinking too much tea could lead to osteoporosis. Is this true?
The caffeine component itself is catecholamines, which will affect calcium metabolism, leading to quicker loss of bone mass.
The doctor points out that tea contains caffeine in varying degrees. A moderate amount can refresh and relieve fatigue. If you drink too much, there is a potential risk of losing bone mass.
For black tea sold in the market, its high roasting caffeine content is basically equal to about half that of coffee.
In contrast, green tea and oolong tea has less caffeine. Drinking tea in daily life is good. Even so, one should not drink it like water, as one should be aware of potential risks like bone loss.
Taiwan is 60% covered in forest, though the country is 99.5% dependent on lumber imports. Many believe this is a serious imbalance, as the government should do a better job of managing forest resources, helping revive the local timber industry and better manage the environment.
你之前有听过国产木材？没有。
台湾国产木材，那是哪里出产的？
是台湾。完全没听过。
因为没有做，蛮多是进口的吧。
台湾林木事业消失了吗？
Traveling a distance of 262 kilometers from Taipei at an altitude of more than 1,100 meters above sea level is an experimental forest area operated by National Taiwan University in Nantou County, Xinyi Township. The 56-year-old master logger Yuan Gaoshong does not properly calculate the direction of where this tree will fall, he will be injured or killed. As he has been engaged in the logging industry for more than 20 years, he is one of the few masters left. However, he knows it is difficult for this industry to survive, and if more talent is lost, this know-how will also disappear.
Young people are less involved now. They may not be able to do what we do now.
With the public not knowing about local timber and few loggers, Taiwan's forest industry is facing a crisis.
Market share of domestic timber is less than 0.5%. Almost 99.5% are imported from abroad.
Compared with neighboring countries such as South Korea at 10% and Japan at 30%, Taiwan's timber self-sufficiency rate is significantly lower. But does this affect people's lives?
放眼望去，货架上空荡荡，卫生纸涨价风声一传。
争先恐后抢购卫生纸，造成社会秩序混乱。
At the end of February 2018, hypermarkets reported that toilet paper prices were about to soar, leading to a frantic rush buying. It was then revealed that pulpwood chips are 99% imports, putting this industry reliant upon foreign prices. This is exactly what worries the domestic forest industry.
Local production and local use is a worldwide trend. If you don't consume locally produced produce and increase self-sufficiency rate of timber, then who will supply it to you in the future? When no one gives it to you, you will have nothing to use.
In fact, Taiwan's forestry coverage rate is as high as 60%, which is twice the world average. But with so many visible forests, why can't we produce wood? During the Japanese colonial rule in 1912, the Alishan Forest Train brought the Japanese straight into Taiwan's middle and high altitude mountains to cut down precious tree species. According to statistics from environmentalists, during these 50 years, the number of tree fallings recorded in the literature was as high as 26 million cubic meters. It is 649 times the current annual output of Taiwan. After the forests were cleared, Japanese cedar is replanted. After Taiwan's retrocession, the government continued to use natural forest resources to support timber harvest, to support farms, and in turn support factories to earn foreign exchange. During the period forest planting policies went into effect, and though it wasn't until the end of the 1980s that environmental awareness rose and street protests forced a government ban on logging.
Taiwan banned some logging in 1989 and in natural forests in 1991. This period was about 80 years. I think that this was era of major logging in Taiwan.
Unexpectedly, the ban on natural forest logging became one of the reasons for forestry stagnation.
At the same time, civil servants had a more conservative mentality because the environmental protection group gave resistance and pressure. It would be more conservative about the development of tree farms.
In 1996, the government introduced a policy of rewarding afforestation efforts. However, it banned the logging of high-value natural timber and switched to tree farms. The industry found it difficult to adjust in a short time. The supply of wood cannot keep up with demand.
The tree farms that we planted had yet to mature, and there was a shortage of timber resources at the time.
In addition, mid and downstream wood industry factories gradually moved to Southeast Asia. When the domestic industrial chain shrank over the past 30 years, the livelihoods of small upstream tree farmers were also affected. Farmer Zhang Ruihong leased 3 hectares of land in Nantou County, Xinyi Township, and planted camphor and calocedrus formosana. But he was very worried whether the trees can be sold after 20 or 30 years.
If you want to harvest, you also have to have someone to buy it. It is hard to find a buyer now.
With unknown market prospects, Mr. Zhang is now legally using the forest land to grow vegetables. He spends more time doing this to support himself. However, as tree farm shrinks or does not prosper, there can be an impact on the environment. In this woodland, these densely packed cedar trees grow tall and thin with small trunk diameters as they compete for the sun to grow taller.
If the tree is weak and does not grow well, then the carbon sequestration capacity is poor. If it is thinned out, this will leave more space for trees which grow well to continue growing.
Modular logging not only contributes to the health of the forest, but also to the growth of trees. It also promotes biodiversity. Taiwan can have productive tree farms occupying 12.3% of the total forest area, around 270,000 hectares. How to make good use of resources and protect the environment and aid industrial development and people's livelihood is an important consideration for restarting Taiwan's forestry industry.
A borough chief in Kaohsiung is 103 years old. She's been in service for over 60 years and is still very healthy and spry.
戴个眼镜，这件对，新宇啊，新宇啊，这件呢？这个新地啊，新地啊，然后在隔壁嘞，在隔壁新洞。
103-year-old Long Bai Wenqing has a great memory and is able to name all the neighbors in this old military village. She's visiting the neighbors today to inform them of the upcoming dengue fever disinfection, as she's the local borough chief and has been for the past 60 years.
Look at how old she is, and her brain is better than ours.
Before she was the borough chief at the age of 43, she was a stay-at-home mom. Her eldest son is now 72, but that does not mean she's going to retire from her official duties.
She's able to still be this active at her age is really our fortune.
I think it's best to let her keep doing this job. It's what is keeping her going.
The senior not only is still walking firmly on her own, but she can bend down to plant her own vegetables to eat, which is her key to a long life.
I eat consciously, don't eat street food, no take-out food. I don't drink Coke or other beverages, only water. I mostly eat clean meals at home.
Dedicated to service for the past 60 years, Long Bai Wenqing is a shining model of selflessness for the next generation to follow.
Now we continue to look back at Tzu Chi's major events that took place in both March and April of 2019.
In March, Qinghai, China was hit by snowstorms, affecting hundreds of thousands of people and 1 million livestock. Tzu Chi volunteers quickly prepared aid supplies for those affected. Undaunted by the blizzard, Tzu Chi volunteers drove up a mountain range over 4,000 meters above sea level and had a simple lunch by the roadside so they could deliver the aid supplies to locals in time.
When
Qinghai was hit by heavy snow in 1995, Tzu Chi also went to help. This time, a man brought Tzu Chi's aid notice from 1996 to the distribution site.
今天他是故意过来的时候，本来是委托儿子可以领，但是这个纪念品在他手里，拿着这个东西过来说，亲自验证一下当年和现在的。我把这些你们的那些瓷器馆，我一直保存，我们这个千万忘不得。师傅，你这恩情我一直忘不下。1996年我们学菜的时候，你救了一个，名字叫阿拉，今年70岁了。今年你看就这么个我们学菜里面。 救了我们这么多的困难的时候给了我一直忘不下，谢谢你，谢谢你，我一直忘不下，谢谢你，谢谢你。
你跟师傅说的话，师傅都会听到哦。
For 23 years, many locals have kept Tzu Chi's aid notice and never forgotten Tzu Chi's timely aid to their families. In March, Cyclone Idai devastated Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique in Africa. Learning about the disaster, Dharma Master Zheng Yan was very concerned.
目睭闭金看到人间啦，目睭起落来就是看到地狱，受灾的人苦啊，急太重，有人通啊帮助因，生命有法度延续落去。
A cholera outbreak was imminent. Everyone in the disaster areas took vaccines, including Tzu Chi members. In Malawi, Tzu Chi paid Idai survivors to rebuild their homes. In Zimbabwe, Tzu Chi volunteers traveled on muddy paths and spent the night by the roadside just to bring aid to people in areas worst hit by Idai. To distribute aid in the rain, the volunteers turned plastic bags into ponchos and cardboard boxes into pavement. They also encouraged the locals to give. In Mozambique, after Cyclone Idai caused widespread flooding, local children dried their soaked books under the sun.
A young lady called Zia who took our books to dry.
To help those affected, Tzu Chi quickly gave out aid supplies.
急需的食品让他们能够生存。第二个，他们急需的是一些建材，让他们能够回去赶快耕作，因为现在旱季已经快到。
To help more people affected by Idai in Mozambique, 18 of Tzu Chi's local volunteers decided to relocate to another disaster area over 1,200 kilometers away from home.
Eu vou ensinar os meus irmãos sobre bambu. Eu vou registrar tudo que for falado nas reuniões, toda a história das famílias e tudo que for falado aqui no terreno. Em todas as reuniões eu vou palestrar. Eu estou aqui para semear a semente do loto. Eu vou dar continuidade com o ensinamento da fundação e inspirar o amor que as pessoas tenham fé em si mesmas. Tzu Chi! Go, 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 go!
In April, Tzu Chi volunteers in South Africa set foot in Zambia, making it the 9th country Tzu Chi helps in Africa. Apart from visiting local government officials, they also bring love and care to those in need. Including Zambia, Tzu Chi has now brought aid to 100 countries and regions around the world. In April, Tzu Chi members worldwide held bowing pilgrimages as a way to observe the 53rd anniversary of Tzu Chi.
Shanli Dai Village's Padan Indigenous Experimental School held an annual cleaning activity and sports competition. It invited other school groups to participate, promoting Jingsa aphorisms and environmental protection. We will leave you with these images.